Hi, my name is Jessica Morgan. I'm filming this video assessment for feed and water animals. So we have three different types of foods that we feed here at the clinic. So we have dry food, we have canned wet food, and then sometimes we also feed roast chicken if we have an animal that's really sick and doesn't want to eat anything else. We buy chicken from up the store at a chicken shop, and we feed it to, we normally store it in a freezer, and then we can take it out and heat it up and feed it as we need it for urgent hospital cases. We also make sure that we take the skin off, so we don't feed the skin to the animals. So we store all our dry food in airtight containers like this one. We also have one in dog ward that is obviously a bit bigger than this one. This is our cat one. It also has our scoop in it, which is reads on the scoop how much it is. Normally we give about 2 scoops, so it'd be half a cup to most boarding animals in the morning. Also, it kind of depends what the owner has said, how often they tend to feed the animal, and also the size of the animal, but that's generally what it is. We also have this cup for the dog dry food. We also have tinned wet food that we store in a fridge in dog ward that is specifically a fridge that we only store pet food in. So we have a separate fridge that we store blood samples in and also medications in. So that fridge is specifically for pet food. Once we've opened the can, we normally put a glove over it like that, and then we write on it the date that we've opened it, so anyone else who's working during that day or later on knows when it's been opened and how fresh it's going to be. Also got the glove there to keep it sealed in and to keep it airtight. Hazards with feeding, obviously you have to be careful because the sharp rims of the cans can get you. What else? Food being left in the fridge too long. Sometimes it can be a hazard because obviously you get off food, you don't want to feed that to an animal, and obviously it gets a bit yuck. The board, when they come in and they're admitted, we actually ask the owner like how often they feed the animal, what they feed it. Sometimes people like to bring in their own food to feed the cat. Sometimes they're happy for us to just feed whatever food we have. So we mark down when it gets fed, how often, how much it gets fed, whether it gets dry food in the morning and then wet food at night. And then we obviously mark it down on the boarding sheet. So we've marked down that the food has been given, and then we also mark down whether the previous food that the animal was given has been eaten. Same goes for water and whether it's been drunk. We'd also make note, obviously if it's only been half eaten, we'd mark down that only half the food has been eaten. So it's also really important that we keep the food preparation area clean, and we make sure that we're cleaning all the bowls and anything that we've used to feed the animals to obviously minimise any infection. If the animal we have may be sick but we don't know, or it's got something that can be passed on to another animal, we're going to make sure we're properly cleaning all the bowls after the animal has left. And then we also want to make sure we clean the whole food and preparation area to also minimise the occurrence of any cockroaches and rats and any pests that might be drawn to the smell of any of the leftover food that's in the sink. Also make sure if we do throw out a can of food that's gone off in the fridge, that we make sure we put it outside in the bin, because obviously if we leave it inside in one of our bins and we don't empty that bin, it's obviously going to smell, and it's also going to attract vermin again as well. So obviously once we've fed the animal, we want to make sure that they're eating all right. So we try and monitor them for a little bit after we've fed them. Sometimes animals don't want to eat, so obviously if they're really shy and they're not exactly happy about being here at the vet clinic, they maybe don't want to eat when there's someone around, so sometimes we do have to leave them and come back and periodically check on them to see if they're eating. So we don't necessarily always get to physically see them eating the food. We do also, if we are low in any stock, so normally sometimes the food we use is write-offs from the retail side of the vet clinic. So sometimes food we can waste food bags that are for sale and just use them in-house. So we don't tend to too much order stock. We'll just, if we run low, we'll just waste the bag that we have and then reorder it. But obviously if we were out of food and we didn't have any that we could grab that is general enough food to use for boarding animals, there is a whiteboard in our dispensary where we write any stock or any medications and whatnot that need to be ordered. So that keeps track, so the head nurse knows what to order and what we're low on. So sometimes we do have to use, we normally just use regular whiskers for boarding animals, and then if we have animals that are really sick, we use, there's an intensive care food called AD that's done by, I believe it is Hill's Prescription Diet, that we can also, if an animal isn't eating at all, you can mix in with water and we can actually syringe feed the animal. If it is really adamant that it doesn't want to eat, if it's not interested in eating at all and it's still on a drip, obviously we have to try and encourage it to eat, so we can use the syringe feed. Also sometimes, depending on whether we've got a cat that's boarding and that we know has either kidney disease or has other issues wrong with it, we can feed it a specific food that is sold through us to help maintain its diet. So obviously we wouldn't just feed it just a regular run-of-the-mill food that we have. We try and give it something specifically designed to help with its kidneys or whatever it is dealing with. So we've got different size feeding containers. We've got the one we normally use for cats, which has the double one, so we've got water on one side and then food on the other side. Then we've got we use metal containers. So we have the bigger one that we normally put water in, ones like these, and we also have this small one for feed, but we can use either or for the dogs.